In this video, I'm going to share with you my easy, chewy chocolate chip and walnut cookies recipe. I'm also going to talk about how to properly make the cookies so that they don't come out crispy or super flat. And I'm also going to share with you how I store the chocolate chip and walnut cookies dough so that you can keep making this over and over again. This batch is going to make 24 cookies. We're going to cook some, we're going to freeze some, and we're going to have a good time. Welcome back to my channel. At Frolic Encourage, I like to make videos on travel, food, and life. So as you can see, we are cooking today. We're cooking easy, chewy chocolate chip and walnut cookies. I'm going to share with you my recipe. So if you're down for this and if you're ready to go, give this video a thumbs up and don't forget to click subscribe to my channel and let's get to cooking. I'm going to quickly go over the utensils you need for this recipe. One is a spatula. 2, a 1 teaspoon and a half teaspoon measuring spoons. A wooden spoon, a spatula with a little silicone lid so we can, scrape the inside of the bowl. And speaking of, you need a large mixing bowl. This is a glass bowl, but plastic bowls are fine too. Whatever you have to mix with will work. I have a cookie scoop, and if you don't have a cookie scoop, no worries, because guess what? A tablespoon will do just fine, and you also need some measuring cups. Here I have 1 cup and a half a cup measuring cups, and this is pretty much everything you need. If you want to mix all the ingredients with a mixer, you can use a hand mixer, a KitchenAid mixer, whatever kind of mixer you have, but today we're gonna do it all by hand because, again, we're trying to be easy here. We're trying to keep it easy, so simple tools will get the job done. How can we forget our 9x12 baking sheet? For our ingredients, we need 1 cup of butter softened, and I left my cup of butter on the countertop for 1 to 2 hours so it can get nice and soft. 1 1/2 cups of semi-sweet chocolate chips. If you want your chocolate chips even more chocolatey, feel free to bump it up to 2 cups or even mix of semi-sweet and milk chocolate chips. 1 cup of chopped walnuts. 1 1/2 cup of packed brown sugar, and I purchased the dark brown sugar because it has a lot more taste. So as you're shopping, pick up the dark brown sugar and not the light brown sugar. And I packed it down so that there were no clumps or air in between, so I got a really full 1 1/2 cups. Next, we need 1/2 cup of white sugar, 2 eggs, and note here that the eggs need to be at room temperature. So right along with my butter, I set my 2 eggs on my countertop so that they will reach room temperature. 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of hot water, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 3 cups of all-purpose flour. Now let's get cooking. First, we're going to preheat our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm cooking with a gas stove, but note that if you have an electric range, you may want to bump up the heat, or if you're in a different altitude, you already know what to do to adjust the temperature accordingly, but generally, keep the preheated oven at 350 degrees. In a large mixing bowl, cream the butter. Once the butter is nice and creamy, add the brown sugar, white sugar, and blend everything until it's smooth. Next, beat in just 1 egg. Once that 1 egg is beaten, then add the 2nd egg to the mixture. It's important to beat the eggs in 1 at a time. Now add the vanilla extract to the batter and set aside. In a separate small bowl, add the baking soda, then stir in hot water until it's fully dissolved. Then pour the fully dissolved baking soda mixture into the batter. Once poured, add the salt and stir everything together. Next, we're gonna stir in our flour, the semi-sweet chocolate chips, and the walnuts. We're gonna mix the ingredients until they're well blended together, but we do not wanna overblend. Once you see that the chocolate chips, the flour, and the walnuts are pretty evenly distributed and you don't see any more white flour, just stop. Just walk away because we do not want to overblend. Overblending can cause really dry, crispy cookies, and we're looking for chewy, delicious chocolate chip cookies with walnuts, so do not overblend. It's completely optional, but if you want to put your batter in the refrigerator for about 1 to 2 hours while it cools, that's totally cool. But for this recipe, there's no need to. So we're just gonna drop a large spoonful of dough onto an ungreased cookie sheet about 2 inches apart. And if you don't have a cookie scoop, it's perfectly okay. Just go with a tablespoon and try to get it as round as possible. The larger the cookie dough, the more space it needs apart. But if you're looking for thinner cookies, Be sure to spoon smaller amounts onto the cookie sheet and just kind of press the center of the dough gently to flatten. We're gonna bake the cookies for about 10 minutes or until the edges are brown. The time may vary based on your oven and altitude, like I said before, so be sure to watch these cookies carefully. You definitely want to check them after 10 minutes, but if the outside edges are not a nice golden brown, then you want to leave the cookies in the oven for an extra minute or two. And as a special note, remember to remove the cookies when the edges are brown, not when the center of the cookie is brown. Now, when I was first learning how to bake, I would take the cookies out once the whole cookie and the center was brown, but that's not true. But don't do that, don't make my mistakes. The cookies may look undone in the center, but trust me, they will harden and continue to cook for a few minutes outside the oven. And this is gonna make the difference between having a soft, chewy chocolate chip and walnut cookie versus a crispy cookie. So make sure to bake for 10 minutes, check to see that the edges are a nice light brown, and then remove them from the oven. Once cooled, store in an airtight container or in a container with 1 slice of sandwich bread to keep the cookies soft and moist. So, all that's left now is to enjoy eating the best chocolate chip and walnut cookies ever. So what are we gonna do with our leftover dough? So if you really want to enjoy these cookies later, notice how we only baked 12 cookies, but we're gonna freeze the other 12 cookies. So spoon the cookie dough onto the baking sheet or on top of a piece of parchment paper and let it freeze. Once it's completely frozen, take it out and put it in a freezer-safe bag or container. And whenever you're ready to eat a cookie, just grab as many cookies as you'd like, put them on the baking sheet at 350 degrees and cook for about 10 to 12 minutes, or like we said before, until the edges are golden brown. If you want, you can let the cookies thaw out a little bit on the counter. This will probably take about an hour or two, but if not, if you just want them frozen directly on the cookie sheet, feel free to do that. Just know that it's gonna bake a little bit longer than our 10 to 12 minutes. If you try to bake these cookies, let me know how it turned out in the comments down below. Mine turned out really soft, really chewy. It's almost like a mix between like a nice crisp outer layer and then a nice chewy, soft, fluffy center. It is so good. And I've got my extra right here with a little piece of bread in it so that we can enjoy for days and days to come. And it's also interesting because my cookie scoop actually made a lot more cookies than what I was expecting. So yeah, this extra airtight container came in really handy. Let me know if you guys made the cookies and if you made any modifications to the recipe. Again, the recipe, the instructions, the original recipe from all recipes for these chewy, delicious, super soft chocolate chip and walnut cookies will be in the description down below. And thank you guys so much for watching. Oh, and if you want me to do any other cooking videos, let me know what you want me to cook and I'll see what I can do. So I'll catch y'all in the next video. Bye.